done. And now we can go ahead, and today we're making my vegan chocolate mousse. It's actually a super easy, super simple recipe. It's only 2 ingredients and 2 main ingredients, and there's some optional ingredients, but we'll get into that later. And one of the main ingredients is coconut cream actually. That's important. You want coconut cream. And we need to heat that up. So let's start by opening the can. Ooh, this is not my usual can opener. It's not that easy. See if we can just get a couple holes in. Yeah. And this recipe is absolutely perfect for Valentine's Day. It's decadent but also super easy to make. And you can make it just for you and your loved one or for your whole family. This recipe makes, if you like big servings of chocolate mousse, this recipe makes 4 servings. But if you just want a little bit, just a little small treat, then it's about 8 servings actually. So then it actually can feed quite a few. So now we have the coconut milk here in the saucepan. I'm going to put that on the stove and bring it to a simmer. Alright, so while this is getting heated up, while the coconut cream is getting heated up, I am preparing the second ingredient, which is chocolate. And since it's a vegan recipe, you want to make sure to find chocolate that doesn't have any milk added. So for that same reason, I like to go with fairly dark chocolate. Today I'm using a mix of 70% and 85% chocolate. And you need 10 ounces of that. And you want to chop that fairly small pieces, because we need the coconut cream, once it's hot, to melt all these pieces easily. And the smaller you chop it, the easier and quicker it will melt. And you can of course use chocolate chips as well if you find vegan chocolate chips, dairy-free chocolate chips. And then those are usually quite small already, but I'm going for dark chocolate because chocolate chips are nice, but actually I find the best quality, the best tasting chocolate is usually in chocolate bars. And because this is like a 2 ingredient recipe and chocolate is really one of the main ingredients, we want to use some chocolate that actually really tastes good. Alright, not sure if you can see too well, but these are really fairly small pieces that I'm chopping this all down to. This is the 70% chocolate bar, and I also have a 85% one that I'm going to chop after this one is done. I guess I could have prepped this a little bit ahead, but we need time anyway for the coconut cream to heat up. So we have the time. This is just a great arm workout. I'm getting quite warm. Tell me, guys, where you're watching from, if you're catching this live. Tell me your plans for Valentine's Day, if you have any. We don't really. My daughter is very, very excited for it. I asked her why she's excited, and doesn't seem to really be a reason. She just likes that it's a holiday. She doesn't really expect anything special to happen. She wants me and my husband to make her a card, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, she's been looking forward to it for a long time. She's asking how many more sleeps That's her current way of figuring out how to measure time. Yes, the chocolate I'm using, there's a question here from Marlene, if the chocolate I'm using is dairy-free. Yes, this is dairy-free chocolate. It's most dark chocolate actually is dairy-free. But you have to still check the ingredients, because sometimes there can be traces of it, and if you really want dairy-free, then make sure you find a brand that has no dairy at all. So yeah, I mentioned just a little bit before that I'm using a 70% chocolate, dark chocolate, and also an 85% dark chocolate bar. So they're not overly sweet. The chocolate really comes through the most. And you're joining from Jacksonville, North Carolina. That's awesome. Okay. Before I start on the second chocolate bar, let me check on the coconut milk. Okay. The coconut milk is actually almost simmering, so I'll have to hurry up with my chocolate. Hi, my sister's joining. How are you doing? I'm getting so excited. We're going on vacation in almost 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks together in close to Cancun. I'm really excited. Everyone in our family is, my daughter especially, to see her cousins again. And of course, looking forward to some relaxing beach time and warm weather. Are you doing anything for spring break? Let me know. So yeah, this is the 85% chocolate bar that I'm quickly chopping up here. And everyone, sorry, my sister is saying everyone is excited too. Yes, of course. So I got the idea for this recipe actually from my cake decorating days when I used to be a cake decorator. And one of the ways I used to fill and cover decorated cakes. Whoa! There goes my coconut milk. That definitely is boiling now. All right, let's hurry up. So one of the ways I used to fill and decorate my cakes was with chocolate ganache, which is really just heavy whipping cream and chocolate that you melt together. And you can leave it kind of dense as is. That's how I usually used it for fillings and for covering cakes. But then at some point I realized if I whip this mixture up, it actually becomes really light and airy and has like a mousse-like texture. And this is what we're making today actually. Only that I make this dairy-free vegan version by using coconut cream and dairy-free chocolate. All right, we're almost done here. This really makes me warm, and we have a really unusually warm February here. It's actually not cold at all right now. And I got my workout done. So here's all the chocolate in a big bowl now. All the chopped chocolate, I should say. Yeah, I think you can see that pretty well. And now I'm pouring the hot coconut cream on top. Don't really need to do much yet, so I'll just cover it up. So make sure all the chocolate is immersed in the coconut cream, and now I'm covering this up. Let me pull this a bit back so you can see that. And now I'm actually going to let this sit for a little while so that the hot coconut cream can melt the chocolate. Yes, I'm sure your kids will love this one. My sister is saying she needs to get some coconut cream to make this. I'm going to quickly wash my hands. They have some melted chocolate on them. Alright, so we'll just let this sit for, kind of depends how small you chop your chocolate. I want to say 3 minutes could be enough. Maybe you need a bit more. We'll check it in a little bit. Let me see, what else can I tell you? Do you have any questions I could answer in these couple of minutes while we are waiting for the coconut cream to melt the chocolate? Maybe I'll tell you the optional ingredients. If you are using dairy-free chocolate that's fairly dark, but actually you aren't a big fan of too bitter chocolate flavors, you have options. So then it becomes more like a 5-ingredient recipe instead of a 2-ingredient one. But you can taste this mixture once this is melted. We'll taste it, and if you think this is just too bitter, a bit too strong for you, you can add additional sweetener. I am using maple syrup. Yeah, like any liquid sweetener that kind of wouldn't have to dissolve. And because the sweetener will make the whole mixture a bit more liquidy, we also add coconut oil. So when we chill all of this, despite adding additional sweetener, it will still set for sure, and we can still make a mousse that whips up properly. All right, let me see what's going on in here. Just put this aside. I'm going to use my spatula and just see. Oh yeah, I think everything has already melted here. So now we just stir it all up. I don't know if you know this about chocolate, that usually doesn't actually lose its shape even if it's melted and warm unless you stir it. So that's why you can have chocolate chips on a muffin or on a cookie, and they usually don't run all over the place. Alright, I think now I'm gonna use a whisk just to really combine everything. Let me take this plate out of the way so you can actually see what's going on. And there we go. I showed a little bit this way, and this is all melted and smooth and combined now. It really didn't take long at all. I'm going to taste it. I would say it's good for me, good enough. I like the flavor of dark chocolate, and I like a more bitter flavor. But just to show you what the options are, so you can add now some maple syrup if you find this is too dark. Of course, if you don't need this to be vegan or dairy free, you could use milk chocolate as well, and I think even white chocolate might be great in this recipe. So now I added some maple syrup. You can do that to taste. I added about, what was this, a 1/3 cup, and then we balanced this with some melted coconut oil, so that despite the liquid sweetener, this mixture will still set up in the fridge. Yes, Marilyn is asking that this is coconut cream, not milk. It is cream. I probably have said it wrong a couple of times now. It is coconut cream. It's a can of coconut cream. And just to flavor, these are also optional ingredients. I'm going to add a little bit of maple syrup, a little bit of vanilla extract, and just a pinch of salt. These are optional ingredients, but they do make it just a little bit nicer, but it's fine even if you just make it a 2-ingredient recipe. Alright, so I'll just quickly stir this in. And the reason I'm using coconut cream instead of milk is that coconut milk has a way higher water percentage, and what will most likely happen then is if you combine that with melted chocolate, it will seize up the chocolate and you won't have this uniform mixture. Instead it will become kind of dry and crumbly. That's the reason why we need something with a higher fat percentage like coconut cream. And this is ready to go in the fridge now. It needs about 2 hours, I want to say, to fully cool down and set up. And then you can proceed. Of course, I have prepped ahead so I can show you exactly just what the next steps are. So this is a half batch I prepared yesterday. So here you can see it's all, let me go a bit closer, it's all set up. It's completely solid now. And now the final step is to whip this up. And maybe you could do that by hand, but I imagine that to be quite difficult. So the way to go here is an electric mixer. So I apologize, this will probably be a bit loud for a second, but it won't take long. And that was it already. So what we did now with the electric mixer is to incorporate air into this. It seems to be very dark. And to make it very light and fluffy. And now it's ready to serve actually. You can just serve it as is. Just spoon it into little bowls. I'm going to show you a little bit of a more, I guess, a little prettier way. So I have a piping bag here with a big star-shaped piping tip. I'm going to fill the mixture in there. But this is totally optional. You don't have to do that. It tastes just as good without any fancy piping. But if it's like a special occasion dessert and you have a piping bag and a piping tip, then definitely go ahead and do that. So I'm going to make sure that you can see it. I'm piping this in here. So that's just like in a swirled big star swirl. Then I'm piping this in here. And I have a second bowl here. You can also use a Ziploc bag if you don't have any piping bags, if you don't have piping tips. Just cut off the end and you can still swirl it. It won't be like a star-shaped swirl, but it will still be pretty. And I'm going to top mine with strawberry and a couple mint leaves. Really anything you want. See if you can see this. So there we go. That's a super easy, delicious Valentine's Day dessert you can make. It's vegan. It can be as few as 2 ingredients, and everyone loves it. I Can't wait to share this with my daughter. She already knew I was going to make this, and she's looking forward to enjoying some chocolate mousse this afternoon. Thanks guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you're making this or any of the other Lilalicious challenge recipes this month, don't forget to snap a picture, share it on your public profiles on Instagram or in the Lilalicious Facebook page or group, and you'll get entered to win an Amazon gift card. Thank you guys for watching. Bye!